Something slammed into my chest. Then it screamed. I barely had time to react. My arms moved on instinct, closing around a small, soft weight before it could hit the ground. My heart jumped into my throat as the sound hit me again, thin, sharp, desperate. Not pain, panic. I looked down. In my hands was a tiny, bald eagle chick. Its feathers were patchy and thin, its body trembling so hard I could feel it through my jacket. Its beak opened wide again, and it let out another weak scream, as if the entire forest needed to hear it right now or it would die. I froze. This wasn't supposed to happen. This trail was quiet, empty. No people, no noise, just tall trees, cold air, and the soft crunch of dirt under my boots. And now something had fallen out of the sky and landed in my arms. I swallowed and forced myself to breathe. The chick was alive, that much was clear, but barely. Its eyes were open, dark, and unfocused. Its small chest moved fast like it was fighting for every breath. I could feel how cold it was, how light, too light. "Easy, easy," I whispered, though I didn't know why. It wasn't going to understand my words. But my voice was the only thing I had to offer in that moment. The chick screamed again, louder this time, its neck stretching upward as if searching for something above me. I followed its gaze. High overhead at the top of a tall pine tree sat a massive nest. Thick branches woven together, old and strong, an eagle's nest. My pulse quickened. I scanned the sky, left, right, up through the branches. I listened hard, waiting for the sharp cry of an adult eagle, the rush of wings cutting the air. Nothing. The forest felt wrong now. Too quiet. No warning cries, no shadows circling overhead, just wind moving through needles and the faint rustle of leaves. Mother eagles don't just drop their chicks. The thought hit me like a stone. I lowered my arms slightly and looked back at the chick. Its body shook harder, its cries turning frantic, almost angry. It wasn't just scared, it was demanding something. Food, warmth, safety. Time. I checked it quickly with my eyes, hands steady even though my chest felt tight. No blood, no twisted wings, no obvious breaks, that was good, but its skin felt cold and its movements were weak. Hypothermia, dehydration. This little thing didn't have hours. "Okay," I murmured, more to myself now. "Okay." I shrugged open my jacket and gently tucked the chick inside, pressing it against my chest where it could feel warmth. It fought at first, squeaking loudly, but then its movements slowed just a little. Not calm. Never calm, but not falling apart either. I looked back up at the nest. Still nothing. My mind raced. If the mother was alive, she would be nearby, watching, screaming, attacking me for touching her chick. But there was only silence. I felt suddenly very small standing there, holding something that wasn't supposed to depend on me. I wasn't trained for this. I wasn't prepared. I was just someone walking through the woods when the sky decided to break open. I took a slow step forward on the trail, then stopped. The chick screamed again, louder, sharper. Not at me. Past me. Its head twisted inside my jacket, its beak pointing toward the deeper part of the forest, toward something I couldn't see yet. I turned my head, listening. At first there was nothing, just wind, just trees. Then faintly, almost lost in the distance, I heard it. A cry. Long, thin, strained. Not a baby's scream. An adult eagle's call, weak, stretched, and wrong. The chick heard it too. Its whole body tensed, and it let out a piercing cry in response, louder than anything before. It wasn't asking anymore. It was calling back. I stood there, heart pounding, staring into the trees where the sound had come from. Whatever had happened up there, whatever had forced this chick to fall, it wasn't over. And the chick in my jacket knew it before I did. The forest was too quiet. No eagle cries, no wings, nothing. That silence pressed in on me as I stood there, holding the chick against my chest. A place like this should have been loud, sharp calls cutting through the air, warning me to back away. Instead, it felt abandoned, like the forest itself was holding its breath. I eased the chick out, just enough to look at it properly. Its small body trembled, but not from pain. I checked carefully, wings, legs, neck, no blood, no broken bones, nothing twisted at the wrong angle. That was the first relief I'd felt since it fell into my arms. "You're not hurt," I whispered. "You're just empty." Starving. The realization hit hard, This wasn't a fresh accident. This chick hadn't missed one meal, it had missed many. I set my backpack down and crouched, keeping my movements slow. The chick screamed again, but weaker now, like it was burning through its last strength. I dug through my pack with shaking fingers, ignoring the cold biting at my hands. Water first. I soaked my finger and let a single drop fall onto the edge of its beak. At first, nothing happened. Then instinct kicked in. The beak opened just a little and the drop vanished. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Again, another drop, then another. The chick swallowed greedily, its head bobbing with effort. I didn't rush it. Too much water too fast could kill it. Every movement felt heavy with responsibility now. One wrong choice and this tiny life would be over. Food came next. I turned over damp leaves near the trail, hands numb, until I found what I needed. Small larvae, soft and pale. Not ideal, but enough. I broke one carefully and held it out. The chick lunged. It ate like it hadn't eaten in days, because it hadn't. Its beak snapped weakly but desperately, gulping down every piece I offered. The screaming stopped, replaced by rough, eager sounds that felt almost painful to hear. Hunger that deep changes something. It wasn't just feeding, it was surviving. I sat back on my heels, watching it breathe, watching the frantic shaking slow just a bit. That's when it hit me. This wasn't a moment anymore. This was a responsibility. I hadn't planned to save anything today. I'd come out here to walk, to clear my head, to be alone. Now, this fragile creature was alive because my arms happened to be in the right place at the right time. And if I walked away, it would die. I glanced up at the nest again, towering above me. Mother eagles don't abandon their young. They don't forget, they don't leave chicks to starve. If something happened up there, injury, attack, poison, then this chick wasn't just lost. It was evidence. That thought tightened my chest. I zipped my jacket halfway and gently tucked the chick back inside, feeling its small body press against me. It didn't fight this time. It clung. Its head rested against my chest, eyes half closed, breathing shallow but steady. "I'm not leaving you," I said quietly, the words surprising even me. The forest no longer felt like a place of rescue. It felt like a question. I stood and started walking deeper along the trail, away from the road toward where I'd heard that faint cry earlier. Every step felt heavier than the last. My senses sharpened. Every snapped twig, every rustle of leaves made my muscles tense. I was looking now, listening. Something had gone wrong here, and whatever it wasn't finished. The chick shifted suddenly inside my jacket. Then it screamed. Not the weak hunger cry from before. This was different, sharp, piercing, urgent. Its body stiffened, claws digging lightly into my shirt. The sound cut through the trees like an alarm. I stopped dead. The chick's cries rose again, fast and frantic, aimed toward the left side of the trail, toward something just out of sight. My heart began to pound. This wasn't fear. This was recognition. Whatever had silenced the sky. Whatever had emptied the nest. It was close, and the chick knew it before I did. The chick thrashed violently inside my jacket. Like it had sensed something I hadn't. Its body twisted hard against my chest, claws scraping fabric, sharp cries tearing out of its throat. This wasn't hunger. This wasn't fear. This was urgency, raw and panicked, like it was trying to pull me somewhere. "Easy," I whispered, stopping in my tracks. "I'm listening." I forced myself to slow down, to breathe, to let the forest speak instead of rushing through it. At first, there was nothing, just the dull thud of my heartbeat in my ears and the wind brushing the treetops. Then I heard it, so faint I almost missed it. A cry. Long, broken, weak. Not the chick. My spine went cold. I'd grown up hearing eagles, strong calls, sharp warnings that filled the sky. This sound was different. It dragged through the air like it hurt to make, like something was wrong. An adult eagle distress call. The chick reacted instantly, screaming louder, twisting toward the sound so hard it nearly slipped from my grip. Its whole body strained in one direction, small wings fluttering uselessly inside my jacket. "That's her," I breathed. "That's your mother." The forest felt different now. What had been quiet before suddenly felt tense, too still, like everything was watching. The shadows between the trees looked deeper. The wind felt colder against my neck. Every instinct in me said this place wasn't meant for me to be here. But I moved anyway. I pushed forward, following the sound. Branches clawed at my arms as I left the trail, thorns catching my sleeves, dead leaves crunching too loudly under my boots. I tried to move quietly, but urgency burned through me. The cry came again, closer this time, but weaker. She was running out of strength. "I'm coming," I said, not sure who I was talking to anymore. The chick's screams rose and fell with the distant call like they were answering each other. Call and response, mother and child. Every time the adult eagle cried, the chick answered, its tiny body shaking with effort. The sound guided me downhill. The trees thinned slightly, but the ground became rougher. Rocks slid under my feet. I caught myself more than once, heart slamming, terrified of falling on the chick. Sweat ran down my back despite the cold. The forest no longer felt like nature. It felt like a warning. The cry came again, closer now. I could hear the strain in it, the rasp at the end. Whatever had happened, she wasn't flying. An eagle that can't fly doesn't last long out here. I pushed harder. Thorns ripped at my hands. A branch snapped loudly behind me and I froze, listening. For a moment there was only silence. Then the chick screamed again, sharper than before. "Okay," I whispered. I know. The air changed as I moved forward. It smelled different, not just pine and damp earth anymore. There was something else underneath it, oil, metal, something wrong. Light broke through the trees ahead. Not sunlight filtering through branches. This was brighter, wider, open. The adult eagle cried again, so close now it sent chills through my chest. I could hear wing beats, heavy, unbalanced, followed by a thud. I broke through the last line of brush and stopped dead. The forest ended. Just like that. Trees gave way to gravel, leaves to dust, birds to silence. A road stretched out in front of me, cutting through the land like a scar. Tire marks darkened the surface. The smell of oil was stronger here, loud, ugly. The chick went still inside my jacket. No thrashing, no screaming. Just a low, broken sound in its throat. My eyes followed the road in both directions, dread sinking into my stomach. Whatever had happened to the nest hadn't come from the sky. It had come from here, and somewhere just beyond the trees. Something was waiting on the other side of that road. I froze. She was hanging upside down from the sky. For half a second, my mind refused to understand what my eyes were seeing. Then it snapped into place, sharp and cruel. An adult bald eagle, huge, powerful, magnificent, dangling from power lines like a broken puppet. Her wings beat weakly, uneven, fighting air that gave nothing back. One claw was twisted tight around the wire, locked in a grip she couldn't release. The other hung limp, feathers stained dark near the joint. Blood. "Oh no," I whispered, my voice barely there. The chick exploded with sound inside my jacket, screaming so hard its body shook against mine. The sound cut through everything, wind, distance, fear. It was raw, desperate. The eagle answered. Her cry came out thin and cracked, nothing like the command of the sky she was built for. It scraped through the air, fatting almost as soon as it began, like it took everything she had just to make that sound. That was her. The mother. The reason the nest was empty. The reason the chick was starving. The reason the forest had gone silent. Man-made lines stretched between two poles, humming softly, uncaring. Black cables against blue sky. Silent killers no one ever thinks about until it's too late. She beat her wings again, harder this time, feathers slapping uselessly. The wire didn't move. Her body swung slightly upside down, the weight pulling against her trapped claw. Every second drained her. She was exhausted. Eagles aren't meant to hang. Their strength is in flight, not endurance. Blood loss, dehydration, shock. It was all written in the way her movements slowed, the way her head drooped between failed attempts. I took a step forward, then stopped. Electricity. The lines buzzed faintly, a low hum that suddenly sounded louder than anything else. One wrong move, one touch, and I'd be dead before I hit the ground. The thought slammed into me, heavy and absolute. I was useless. My hands clenched at my sides, nails digging into my palms. "I'm here," I said, though she couldn't understand. "I've got your baby, I've got her." The chick screamed again, louder than before. The eagle's head lifted at the sound, just barely. One eye opened wider, locking onto me, onto the noise coming from my chest. Her cry came again, faint but focused now, not panic. Recognition. Something broke open inside me. She knew her chick was alive. She was hanging there, bleeding, trapped, dying, and still responding, still trying. "I can't reach you," I said, the words cracking. "I'm sorry." Time pressed in from every side. The sun was higher now, heat building. Dehydration would come fast, shock even faster, and every time she struggled, the wire bit deeper into her claw. I pulled my phone from my pocket with shaking hands. Signal, thank God. My fingers fumbled as I dialed emergency services. The operator answered calmly, too calmly, like this was just another call. "There's a bald eagle tangled in power lines," I said fast. "An adult, she's injured, her chick is with me, she's bleeding and hanging upside down." A pause, keys clicking. "Location?" the operator asked. I gave it mile markers, landmarks, the road name. "Wildlife Control and the power company have been notified," she said. "They're on their way." "How long?" I asked. Another pause. "Hard to say," she replied. "Could be a while." A while? I looked up at the eagle again. Her wings had stopped beating. Now they only twitched small movements that barely kept her balanced. Her head sagged forward. The chick let out a broken scream, softer now, tired. My chest tightened until it hurt to breathe. "Please," I said into the phone, my voice low and desperate. "She doesn't have a while." The operator's voice stayed steady. "Help is coming," she said, "but it won't be fast." I ended the call and stood there, helpless, staring up at a mother running out of time, knowing the sky itself was killing her. And all I could do was wait. Her cries were getting weaker. And I couldn't reach her. Every sound she made felt thinner than the last, like the air itself was draining out of her lungs. The chick screamed nonstop inside my jacket, a sharp, broken noise that refused to fade. It wouldn't let the forest forget. It wouldn't let me give up. I scanned the ground, desperate. Then I saw it, a long, fallen branch, thick enough to reach but light enough to lift. My hands moved before my fear could catch up. I dragged it across the dirt, leaves scraping, heart pounding. "Easy," I whispered, to myself more than anything. I raised the branch slowly, inch by inch, keeping my body as far back as I could. The tip brushed the wire, just barely, and a sharp buzz snapped through the air. I jerked back instantly. Electricity. My breath came out shaky. One wrong angle and I'd be dead, not injured, not hurt, dead. And then what would happen to the chick, to her? I tried again, changing my grip, aiming for her claw instead of the wire. The branch trembled in my hands. Sweat slid down my back despite the cool air. "Come on," I murmured. "Just let go." The branch touched her leg. She screamed. Not fear, pain. Her wings flared suddenly, violent and wild. Feathers flew as she thrashed, panic exploding through her body. The trapped claw twisted harder, pulling blood free. The wire shook. The hum grew louder. "No, no." I yanked the branch back, stumbling, my heart slamming against my ribs. I had made it worse. The chick's scream cracked into something desperate and hoarse, like it was begging me not to stop, not to leave. It pressed against my chest, tiny claws digging through fabric, shaking. I dropped the branch. My hands shook uncontrollably now. Every instinct screamed at me to do something, anything, but reason fought back just as hard. I couldn't climb. I couldn't touch the line. I couldn't save her alone. All I could do was watch. Minutes stretched into something unbearable. The eagle's wings barely moved now. Her head drooped lower, neck slack. Each breath looked like effort, like a choice. "Stay with me," I whispered. "Please, just stay." Then, faint at first, almost imagined, a sound cut through the forest. Sirens. I spun toward the road. Red and white flashed through the trees, growing brighter, louder. Hope hit me so hard my knees almost gave out. "They're here," I said aloud, my voice breaking. "You hear that? They're here." The chick screamed again, louder than it had in minutes, as if it understood. The fire truck burst into view, gravel crunching beneath its tires. It stopped fast, doors flying open. Firefighters moved with calm speed, faces serious, eyes already tracking the wires, the bird, the danger. One of them looked up and swore under his breath. "Power lines," he said. "Adult eagle entangled." Another firefighter spotted me. "You the caller." Yes, I said quickly. That's the mother, I have her chick. His expression shifted instantly, focus sharpening. All right, good, stay back, don't move closer. They worked fast but carefully. One called the power company again. Another began pulling equipment from the truck. A ladder truck rumbled forward, stabilizers dropping into place with heavy thuds. The eagle lifted her head weakly at the noise. Her eye locked onto the movement, onto the rising machine, confusion flashing into fear. Easy girl, one firefighter said quietly, though his voice couldn't reach her. The ladder began to rise. Metal groaned as it extended upward, inching closer to the wires to her. The chick went wild inside my jacket, screaming at full force now, body thrashing. The eagle panicked. Her wings exploded outward, beating frantically. She screamed, loud and piercing, terror ripping through her voice as the ladder closed in. The wire shook violently. Hold it, someone shouted. Too late. She fought the sky itself. And the ladder kept rising, the eagle lashed out. The wire tightened. For a split second, it looked like the sky itself was pulling her apart. Her wings beat wildly, striking nothing but air, and the metal line cinched harder around her claw. Blood darkened the feathers near her leg, dripping in slow, terrifying drops. Easy, easy, a firefighter shouted. One man stepped forward, already pulling on thick insulated gloves. He didn't rush. He didn't hesitate either. His face was calm, focused, like every second had already been measured. I'm going up, he said. The ladder steadied. The machine groaned softly as it locked into place. Slowly, deliberately, he began to climb. Every step he took made my chest tighten. The chick screamed nonstop inside my jacket, a raw, piercing sound that cut through everything. It wasn't fear anymore. It was warning, command, don't let her fall, don't let her die. Halfway up, the firefighter stopped. He looked at the eagle, then at the wires, judging distance, angles, risk. It's okay, girl, he said quietly, his voice steady and low. I'm here to help you. The eagle answered with a weak screech, her body twisting again as panic surged. Her trapped claw slipped for a terrifying second. She dropped. Only inches, but it was enough. The wire jerked tight. Her body swung, hanging now almost completely upside down. One wing slammed against the pole, the other flailed uselessly. The chick let out a sound I didn't know it could make. Hold her, someone yelled. The firefighter lunged. He reached out with one arm and caught her body midair, wrapping it tight against his chest. Her wings beat once, twice, then stilled as he pinned them gently but firmly. I've got you, he said, almost like a promise. Now she was supported, no longer hanging by pain alone. But the wire was still wrapped tight around her claw. Sweat rolled down the firefighter's temple as he shifted his weight, balancing on the ladder with one arm holding the eagle, the other reaching toward the wire. Every movement was slow, controlled, careful. Below, no one spoke. Even the forest seemed to hold its breath. He began separating the wire strands with his gloved fingers, prying them apart bit by bit. The metal resisted, scraping, vibrating softly. Each movement made the eagle flinch, but she didn't fight anymore. She was too tired. Too empty. Almost there, the firefighter murmured. Just a little more. The chick's scream softened into broken chirps, like it was begging instead of shouting now. The wire finally loosened. For one long second, nothing happened. Then the claw slipped free. The eagle was loose. A collective gasp rose from below. The firefighter tightened his hold instantly, securing her wings against her body. She didn't resist. She didn't even lift her head. She went completely limp. Is she? Someone started. She's alive, the firefighter said firmly, just exhausted. The descent felt endless. Each rung down was slow and careful, like one wrong step could undo everything. My legs trembled as I watched, my hands locked tight around the jacket holding the chick. Finally, his boots touched the ground. They laid her gently on the grass. Up close, the damage was impossible to ignore. Her beak was open, breathing shallow and fast. Her eyes were dull, unfocused, and her leg. My stomach dropped. The claw that had been trapped was badly torn. Feathers were gone, skin split, blood smeared dark and thick along the scales. The injury wasn't just on the surface. It was deep. Damn, one firefighter muttered quietly. She's been hanging there a long time, another said. Hours, maybe. I knelt without thinking, my body moving on instinct. I have medical training, I said quickly. Basic, if you have a kit, I can clean it, slow the bleeding. The firefighter looked at me for half a second, then nodded. Jake, kit, now. The chick stirred inside my jacket, suddenly quiet. I opened it just enough to look down. The tiny eagle chick stared back up at me, then past me. At her. And for the first time since falling from the sky, she didn't scream. She just watched. On the ground, surrounded by strangers, the mother eagle lay broken, but alive. And whatever came next was going to decide if that was enough. She was bleeding badly. But she was still alive. That was the only thing that mattered. The eagle lay on the grass, her chest rising and falling in shallow, uneven breaths. She didn't try to stand, didn't try to strike. Her strength was gone, spent somewhere up on that pole, tangled in wire and fear. I knelt beside her as the firefighter handed me the kit. Red case, snapped open, clean smell of antiseptic cut through the forest air. Easy, I whispered, though I wasn't sure who I was saying it to. Her, myself, the chick. I soaked a piece of gauze and reached for her injured leg. She flinched at the first touch. Then she stopped. Her eyes stayed on me, dark, heavy, watching. She's not fighting, one firefighter said quietly. That's unusual. I cleaned the wound slowly, carefully, washing away dried blood and dirt. The gash was deep, torn by metal and panic. Every movement burned, I knew that, but she didn't lash out, she didn't scream. It was like she understood. Like she knew this pain was different. I wrapped the bandage snug but gentle, securing it so it wouldn't tighten circulation. When I finished, my hands were shaking. She's stable, I said, but she needs care, real care. The firefighters nodded. No one argued. That's when I remembered the chick. I opened my jacket carefully and lifted the tiny body out into the light. It chirped softly, a thin, trembling sound, nothing like the screaming from before. The moment the mother eagle saw it, something changed. Her head lifted. Just a little. She made a low, rumbling sound, soft, almost like a purr. The chick answered instantly, scrambling clumsily toward her, tripping over its own weak legs, refusing to stop. I placed the chick beside her wing. The reaction was immediate. The chick pushed under her body, pressing close to her chest, burying its beak into warm feathers. The mother shifted just enough to cover it, curling protectively despite the pain. The sound she made then wasn't fear. It was relief. One of the firefighters turned away. Another swallowed hard. For a moment, no one spoke. A family torn apart by wires and chance was whole again, right there on the side of a road. We'll take them to a wildlife rehab center, the senior firefighter said finally. They can heal together. I nodded. There was no other answer. They brought a large ventilated carrier, padded and dark inside. We moved slowly, carefully, transferring the mother first, then placing the chick beside her. She pulled it close instantly. The drive felt longer than it was. 40 minutes of listening to faint sounds from the carrier. Soft chirps, gentle responses, life still fighting. At the center, a veterinarian met us. Gray hair, calm hands, eyes that had seen this kind of damage before. She examined the wound carefully, nodding as she worked. You did good, she said to me. Very good. Will she fly again? I asked. She paused. That depends on healing, she said honestly. Weeks, maybe longer, but she's strong. They placed the eagles in a quiet enclosure, warm, safe together. Days passed. Then weeks. Every time my phone buzzed, my heart jumped. And then one morning, the call came. She's healing well, the vet said. The wound closed clean, no infection. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. Can she fly? I asked. There was a smile in her voice. She already is, she said. But freedom would still have to wait just a little longer. 7 weeks later, my phone rang. She's ready, the vet said, her voice calm but excited. The mother eagle and the chick, both strong enough to return to the wild. I grabbed the carrier, my heart hammering faster than any pace I'd felt on this path before. The forest awaited, The same tall pines, the same trail, the same nest that had once seemed unreachable. Every step felt heavy, yet full of anticipation. When I arrived, the clearing looked almost unchanged, peaceful and silent. I set the carrier down on the soft grass and knelt beside it, hands hovering over the latches. My fingers trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the weight of responsibility. I opened the carrier slowly. First, the mother eagle emerged. She stretched her enormous wings carefully, testing her healed leg. Then she took a tentative step forward. The muscles in her wings flexed, and with a powerful leap, she launched herself into the sky. The sound of wind through feathers was sudden, commanding, alive. She circled above, powerful and victorious, as if announcing to the forest I survived. Then the chick followed. Its first flight was clumsy. Wings flapped frantically, landing with small stumbles, skidding on loose needles and twigs, but it didn't give up. With each desperate leap, it rose higher, gaining confidence with every beat. I watched, breath caught, as mother and chick finally met in the air. Together, they flew toward their nest high in the pines. The chick pressed close, learning from the mother, clumsy but brave, mirroring every flap. They reached the nest at last, settling among the branches, triumphant and whole. I stood there, hands in pockets, silent. The forest seemed to exhale around me. I thought about the wires that had trapped the mother eagle, the same careless human hands that nearly took both lives. And yet, it was also humans who had chosen to care, to act, to save. The eagle's cries, once piercing with fear, now rang out in celebration, a sound of survival, resilience, and reunion. I turned away slowly, taking in the sight of the tall pine and the family restored. For a long moment, I simply watched. Sometimes rescue doesn't come from power, systems, or authority. Sometimes it comes from those who refuse to walk past a cry for help.